Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to All Praise Picks. It's been a minute since I last posted. Moved to a new city, started a new job, so was just handling life, and I'm glad to be back on YouTube posting again. This is my first NFL video on this channel, so I'm excited. Tonight, Thursday Night Football, we have the Green Bay Packers playing the Detroit Lions in Detroit on December 5th, 2024. So currently, the Packers are 9-3, which is third place in the NFC North, and sixth place overall in the NFC playoff picture, while the Lions are 11-1, which is first place in the NFC North, and they are the number one seed. So this should be a very good game, and I'm very excited to watch it. I do have one parlay for you guys on BetMGM. I'll start off by breaking down what I think will happen in the game in terms of the Lions offense and the Packers offense, and then show my parlay at the end. I appreciate you guys for sticking with me, and hopefully you guys can like, comment, and share this video with everybody in your life that does sports betting or is interested in watching this game, and hopefully this parlay hits. So when it comes to the Lions offense, in the last game that they played against the Packers, they were actually up 17-3 at halftime, and I think a similar game script will happen in this one. On the season, the Lions are the number one first half scoring offense in the NFL. They've scored 222 points in the first half in 12 games, which is actually one less game played than the other NFL teams at the top of this category. So their offense could actually be much better than the statistics would show. And I also think when it comes to the Packers defense, there are a few injuries that are important to note. Their starting linebacker, Edwin Cooper, and their cornerbacks, Jair Alexander and Corey Ballantyne, will not be playing in this game, and I think that'll bring a strain to the Packers on defense. And I think that the Lions should be in a better position to score in this game than in their last matchup, and being at home in the Dome only helps their offense even more. When it comes to their quarterback, Jared Goff, I feel like he's been incredible this season and should be in store for another efficient game tonight. To me, he's still in the MVP race, and he has a good chance to add to his case at home in primetime. I don't really see the Lions playing with their foot in this one, as they could clinch a playoff berth with a win and also remain on top of the division and the overall NFC standings. And having that number one seed is really important for the Lions because they are a dome team, and their offense plays much better at home. When it comes to their offensive skill players, I think that the speedsters on their offense, including Jameer Gibbs and Jameson Williams, could be in store for a really big game today. Like I mentioned, with the linebacker out for the Packers as well as two corners, the Lions should be able just to attack those mismatches and should be able to score pretty easily against the Green Bay Packers, even though this is a divisional game. And as I mentioned before, there is a lot of playoff importance with this game. So I do think that on both sides of the ball, there will be more offensive play calls that tend to be more aggressive and lead to more scoring. When it comes to the Packers offense, I do think that they have a good matchup here against the Lions defense. For the entire season, the Lions defense has been essentially a pass funnel. They've given up top 10 marks in pass yards allowed, and that's because their rushing defense has actually been pretty good. They're top 3 in the fewest rush yards allowed and rush attempts by the opposition. I think part of that is because of their good run defense and because the Lions get to early leads in the first half, which forces the opposition to pass the ball more frequently as the game goes on. And with how good the Lions have been this season, especially at home, I could see Jordan Love having more than 30 pass attempts in this game. And I think those passes will probably go to their receivers, Reed and Watson, as well as their tight end, Tucker Kraft. So Jaden Reed and Christian Watson are the top receivers for the Packers with Romeo Doubs out in this game, and I prefer to look at Jaden Reed's props because Watson tends to be injury prone, so I don't really like investing in his props, and I think that Reed should have a higher target share as he can play in the slot and on the outside as a wide receiver. And as for Kraft, the Detroit Lions have given up the fifth most receiving yards to tight ends this season, and he's been more involved in this offense with Dobbs and Watson missing games due to injury. And as I mentioned before, there's a big playoff importance with this game. I think it's a little bit more important for the Lions to win this game than for the Packers, because I think the Packers could still get to the playoffs even if they lose this game, but they would get to the playoffs as a wild card. And with a win, they would be in better position to potentially win their division, which would give them a home game for the first playoff game and potentially home field advantage for future playoff games. So this is the parlay that I have on BetMGM. I did have this no sweat bet token, which essentially gives me back a $25 bonus bet if my bet loses. But starting at the top, I have the Lions total points over 24. As I mentioned before, they've been the best first half scoring team in the NFL, and I think that their offense would perform better at home than they did in Green Bay. I also like Jared Goff to have over 200 passing yards. Um, he's been great this season, and I think that he'll continue to do so uh, at home. I also like Jordan Love to have over 200 passing yards, as I mentioned. I think that they'll pass the ball more than they rush the ball because the Lions have had a pretty good rush defense on paper, and we'll see how the game goes. But also, Jordan Love, he tends to throw the ball um, down the field. So even if the Packers are able to run the ball, I feel like he'll be able to still accumulate passing yards with big plays. So I have Jameer Gibbs also here for 50 plus rushing and receiving yards total. I just really like Gibbs' matchup here as a speedster who's able to run the ball while also catching the ball and making plays when he has the ball in his hands. So I think that 50 plus rushing and receiving yards total should be a pretty easy mark for him to get as long as he plays throughout the game. He's also gone over 50 plus rushing and receiving total yards in every game this season, and I do think that there is a big touchdown potential for him. Like I mentioned, the combo of speed and big play potential gives him a good chance to score versus this weakened Packers defense. And he nearly scored versus the Bears on Thanksgiving, but fumbled within the red zone. But he also has not gone back-to-back games without a touchdown this season, so I do think that this is a game for him to bounce back. When it comes to Jameson Williams to have 25 plus receiving yards, I think in the last few weeks he's proven that he's not just a big play type of receiver. He's been more involved with their offense in their intermediate routes, and he's had over 3 catches in each of the last 4 games. He's gone over 25 yards in 8 out of the last 10 games played and can honestly get over 25 yards in one play. So I feel like his yardage for within this offense is pretty reliable. I also have Amon-Ra St. Brown to have 50 plus receiving yards. Amon-Ra has been the clear number one target for Jared Goff throughout this season, and he's gone over 55 yards in each of his last 5 games, with at least 5 receptions in those games. And with Jair Alexander, who is a Pro Bowl cornerback, and while he hasn't been playing as well this season, he's still the number one corner for the Packers. Well, he's not playing in this game, so St. Brown at the very best will be matched up against the Packers' second best corner. And there is some potential for double coverage when it comes to the Packers defense, which would open things up for other players within the Lions offense. But in watching the Packers, I don't really see them playing double coverage that often, and I don't think that they would do so against a slot receiver like St. Brown. Ultimately, I think that St. Brown has been too involved in this offense to be completely removed from it and should be in good shape to have over 50 receiving yards in this game. I also like Jayden Reed to have over 25 plus receiving yards. Uh, as I mentioned, I just trust Jayden Reed more than Christian Watson when it comes to his involvement with the offense, and the potential for injury that Christian Watson has is just a little bit too high for me to place any bet on him at this time. Looking at Reed's involvement over the last 3 games, he's just gone under 25 receiving yards barely in those games, but all those games favored running the ball more because they played in the snow or cold weather, and the Packers won each of those games pretty handily, except for the Chicago game. But playing in a dome, I think that he should have a better game offensively, and I think that his involvement with the offense in terms of his target share should be increased. I also like Tucker Kraft to have over 25 plus receiving yards. I mentioned that Detroit has given up the 5th most receiving yards to tight ends this season, and Kraft has been more involved with the offense with Dobbs and Watson missing with injury. He's gone over 25 yards in the last 5 games he's played in and has had 4 receptions for 34 yards in the last game versus Detroit in Green Bay. He's also had over 3 catches in 6 of his last 8 games played and has gone over 25 yards in every game. He's had at least 3 catches, so I figure that if he gets at least 3 receptions in this one, he should be able to get 25 yards off those receptions. And I think that the Packers lean towards passing the ball more in this one in order for them to win. I think that Reed and Kraft probably had to get over 25 yards apiece. And my last one is for Gibbs. I mentioned that I think that just his versatility in the offense and his explosion as a running back and a receiver gives him a good chance to score a touchdown, and he hasn't gone back-to-back games without a touchdown this season. So this parlay at plus 425, you place a 1 unit bet, you get 425% return on your investment. Because BetMGM gave me this bonus bet token, I just put it all the plays that I liked in this game into one parlay, but feel free to adjust accordingly, and always have financial responsibility and consciousness when placing these bets. But I feel pretty good about this one, and with the total payout of 131, it's a pretty good return on a game that I think would be good to watch as well. So that's the parlay that I have for you guys. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you guys commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. And I'm excited for the rest of the NFL season, as well as getting back to posting NBA and some college football parlays that I have. Just generally excited to be back on YouTube, and looking forward to making more videos soon. Peace.